As you can imagine, I get a lot of questions, whether it's direct message, email. Well, they're the only ways people can reach me. But I get a lot of questions from people that want to become a virtual assistant, but the only thing that's holding them back is confidence. So I've asked my group of mentees to give me their examples of the feelings of not being confident enough to go forward with things, what things take over their mind to try and stop them from going on this virtual assistant journey. I'm pretty sure I was exactly the same back in 2015 when I started my journey, but it's been a long time. So I wanted to ask a few people their opinion. I've got them written down here and I'm going to answer them. Hopefully it helps to cover some of your questions too, to help build your confidence. If not, let me know in the comments and I can address them in another way. Who am I to even give this advice? So my name's Catherine Gladwyn and I started my VA journey in late 2015. In 2018, I published my first book, which is now a worldwide bestseller. It's How to Be a Virtual Assistant. And since then too, I've also been mentoring women to become virtual assistants, and there are thousands that have gone through my books. So hopefully you can put your trust in my tips and advice. Like I said, I've got questions here from my mentees around things that they don't feel confident about. And the first one that I've picked up is the mind saying, I can't possibly do it. I can't do it. And this is why I always say to people, you must only offer services that you're confident and competent in. Don't ever agree to do something that you've never done before or that you don't feel confident about. There are so many different services you can offer as a virtual assistant. You've probably already downloaded my free guide, which is 80 plus services a virtual assistant can offer. If not, then find the link, or it's bio.link/virtual assistant. It's a free guide, download it, and I can guarantee you'll find some services in there that you are confident and competent in, that you can offer as a virtual assistant. But if you start saying yes to things you can't do, that's when you'll start getting worried. You'll get stressed. You'll start, people say to themselves, I'll just watch a few YouTube videos. Somebody on social media said today, it's like, this is why you shouldn't offer things that you can't do. It's like passing your driving test and then the next day thinking you can teach other people to drive. No, you just can't. You can't do it. And imagine the stress and imagine what you would do wrong. It's exactly the same if you offer services you can't do as a virtual assistant. It's so stressful for you. And so don't do that. And it will help to stop you thinking, I can't do it. Saying that though, for about 2 years into my business, whenever I took on a new client, I would still think, I can't do it. Even though I knew I could. So what you've got to do is you've just got to take my word for it that it takes about 2 weeks to adjust to anything new. If you've ever had any bad news in your life or a change of anything at work or having a child or anything like that, it can take 2 weeks for things to feel different. And what I always say to myself now is if something stressful happens or anything like that, I always say to myself, I'm going to feel a lot different in 2 weeks. At the moment, it feels awful, it feels scary or whatever emotion it's giving me, but I know that in a fortnight it's not going to feel as bad at all. And I found that really, really helped me. But I do remember and I do understand how you're going to feel when you take on new clients. For me, it lasted about 2 years until I started this 2 week feeling, because I thought, I can't keep going through this like stress and not sleeping for a couple of nights when I take on a new client. So instead, I needed to find a way to deal with it, to get round it. And I thought, how have I coped in the past? And I thought, well, it's always got easier. So just know that it will get easier, I promise you. And that kind of helps with those, they call them mind monkeys, don't they? I don't want to use that, I've said it now, but it will help. Another question, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on YouTube, but the question is, your confidence is being affected because they keep saying to themselves, what if I fuck it up? Let's use mess it up. What if I mess it up? Well, you're only human. Honestly, we all make mistakes. I think I've said in a previous video, I sent a client to, or I was about to send a client to the wrong train station. Luckily, I picked up that I'd made that mistake in advance, so I was able to sort that out. But I can't think of any other mistakes that I've made, but I know that I have, and it's not that I haven't made them, it's just I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to sit there for a few days to try and remember them. But you're gonna make mistakes. You know, you might misinterpret something that a client has said. And this is why I always get my clients to only email me tasks. I don't want to do it on the phone. I don't want to do it with a Zoom call unless that Zoom call is getting recorded, because things can be misinterpreted or forgotten or something like that. But if they tell you via email what they want done, or maybe through a project management system like Asana, then you've got it in writing and you can refer back to it. Now, I do find, it's a little bit picky here, but I do find a lot of new virtual assistants don't read things properly. And I think it's in haste of wanting to get in touch with somebody. So if I ever put an email out to my associates that I've got a potential role coming up, and I'll put some directions in that email for what I want back from them. And often a few people don't read the email properly and just get back to me really quickly. And instantly it tells me that they're probably not going to be good at following instructions. So I do pick up on that quite a lot. So make sure that you just read things thoroughly. You don't need to rush with anything. You may be thinking, oh God, I've got to be quick because it's going to be costing the client time and money and all of that. But it's going to cost them a lot more money if you do something wrong. So to try and avoid mistakes and bucking it up, then just make sure you read things thoroughly and you're really sure of what is required of the job. You will make mistakes, and my advice is to just own them. Just say you've done it, or if you haven't noticed and the client's noticed, just say, oh God, thanks so much for noticing that. I'm so sorry. Let me rectify that. And what I have made other mistakes, because I remember saying to clients, oh God, plural, I remember saying, let me make that okay, and I won't put it on the clock, obviously. So they know that they're not going to be paying for you to rectify the mistake. So there's another way to deal with it. So somebody else has said that they're worried that they won't know what the client wants. And it's absolutely fine to clarify. Sometimes clients come to you and ask for something, and it's just like, what? Sometimes they don't understand the terminology, and things they're asking for make no sense. And it makes you think, okay, so I've been doing this for years in an employed role. I've never come across the way you've said that before. So, and you might panic. It's fine to just go back and say, I'm not sure if I'm misreading that, but I'm not quite sure what you're on about. Or, something a bit kinder than that. Or you could just say to them, okay, so let me get this straight. Do you mean X, Y, and Z? It's fine to clarify things as long as you're not doing that all the time, as long as you don't need micromanaging or constant guidance, because there are some virtual assistants out there that sometimes don't think for themselves. Sometimes all the information is there, but they just seem to want further clarity. So just make sure that you're reading everything, as I said previously, but also be aware that clients do sometimes ask for things that don't make sense, and you're the expert. I do get that a lot, and it's only recently, probably the last few years, that I've thought, yeah, it's not me being a nutter. Sometimes they're asking for things that just don't even exist. They're just making stuff up in their head because they're the expert at whatever they're doing, and we're the expert in the services that we're providing. Expert, that's a word you need to get used to. You are the expert in the services you're providing. This was a really good question. Somebody's asked, even though I know my skill set, I'm worried that the client won't be content with it. So the way I've read that question is that the virtual assistant is worried that the client won't be happy with the end result, with the outcome, with the finished service, with the finished task. And yeah, of course, that is worrying. But clients are coming to you because they either can't, won't, or shouldn't be doing the tasks themselves. If they can't do it themselves, they're going to be more than happy with whatever you do. If they shouldn't be doing it themselves, it's probably because they're either rubbish or they haven't got the time. So they're going to, again, be grateful for what you do. If they refuse to do it themselves, then they're going to be bloody happy with whatever you do as well. But again, it comes back to ensuring you only provide services and say yes to things that you can do. Otherwise, you're constantly going to be thinking, this ain't going to be good enough. It ain't going to be good enough. But you're providing a service to clients that can't do this anymore. They cannot do whatever it is you're offering to do for them because they're too busy. Paying you the £30 an hour enables them to bring in more money into their business. So it's a win-win situation. And you know what? Sometimes you may get that the client's not happy with the outcome. They might be, oh, I was expecting you to do this as well. Then you can go back and go, okay, well, that wasn't in the original brief, but more than happy to do it. Would you like me to do that? It will take another couple of hours, which is why you always have instructions via email. Okay, so how do you deal with negative feedback? So how do any of us deal with negative feedback? I mean, you can have a million people say, oh my God, your hair looks great. And then one person comes in and says, that style don't suit you at all. And that's it. You're thinking, well, I can't wait for it to grow. You book your next hair appointment. In fact, you probably just might as well shave it off because you just don't need hair. But I don't know why we do it. I don't know why we focus on that negative. I'm not going to Google it because it'll give me more negative stuff, won't it? But, I mean, I get negative feedback. Of course, we all do. The way I now deal with it is I think, well, if somebody's giving me negative feedback, they're obviously not happy, because nobody that takes the time to leave any negative feedback anywhere is content with their own life. They've clearly got a problem with something. Now that kind of goes for social media, doesn't it? But what if a client gives you negative feedback? Who asked for it? You know what? Hello? So I had somebody inquire about, so you probably already know that I provide MailChimp and MailerLite email marketing support to my clients. And somebody came with an inquiry, and I quoted very, very high because I was poorly at the time and I thought it's going to take a lot of my time. It's got to be worth it. So I quoted very, very high, and he wanted a call with me. So we had a call, and I'd researched all about him and everything. So we had the call, and he came back after the call and he said, yeah, I've chosen to go with the other person. And I just wanted to mention that I think your email signature is a little bit unprofessional. And this kind of put me off initially as to whether I wanted a call with you. What? My email signature said something about, spelling mistakes just happen. That's it. He said, and also the other person was a lot cheaper than you. That's the crux of it. Always a problem with them, usually comes down to money. If a client gives negative feedback or says you've taken too long doing something, it's probably because they can't afford it. They're worried about money. But honestly, always comes down to money. Always. And that bloke with my email signature, I never wanted to work with him anyway. So another one about confidence is people are worried that they'll take too long doing a task. That's fine, okay? This is an easy one to answer. So what you do when you take on a new client, you can, if you don't know how long something's going to take, you can say to them, how long would you like me to spend on this task? Or you can say to them, what's your budget? And if they say my budget is for 4 hours a month, you can say, brilliant. Okay, so I'll do 4 hours. I'll let you know when I'm getting close to 4 hours. And if there's anything else that needs doing, you can decide whether you want me to continue or start again next month. If you know how long something's going to take, then make sure you say to the client, I think this will take me 6 hours or whatever it's going to take. Is that okay with you? And again, this is another reason why things should be in email so that they're confirmed. If you get your contracts from Coffee Clatch, which is spelled coffee with a K and Clatch with a K as well, then they come with a booking form where you can confirm the work on there and how long you're going to take, which is brilliant. And the client has that before they sign the contract. So I do recommend you get your contracts from Coffee Clatch. And if you use the code CATH10, CATH10, you'll get 10% off. So make sure you clarify everything in advance. And if you perhaps think that things are going to take you a lot longer than what you've already agreed to, then just send the client an email and say to them, we're getting near the 4 hours, whatever it is. Would you like me to stop now, or are you okay for me to continue? And they'll usually come back. And if they're happy for you to continue, they'll say, yep, just do another couple of hours. Or they might say, let's start again next month because my budget's only 4 hours for this month. Don't worry about it. Everything's workoutable. Everything. Another question was, I get overwhelmed. The idea of the task grows much bigger in my mind than what it is on paper. If you're confirming what the task is, again, in your booking form that you can get from Coffee Clatch when you buy their contracts, If you confirm what the task is and your mind starts saying it's bigger than what you think, then you need to say to your mind, shut up, because I've got the booking form here. You don't even know what you're on about. If you've got it in writing and the client has confirmed that's what they need, you don't need to worry about it. You've got it. It's not going to be any bigger than what you think. You've done everything you need to do. It's all there. It's fine. Stop imagining stuff. Check my notes and I've covered all the questions already, but if you've got any more around confidence, then put it in the comments and I will either answer them in the comments or I'll do a TikTok on them. Or if there are lots of them, then I'm more than happy to do another video. So please subscribe to my channel, because I'm throwing them out like there's no tomorrow. And if you're not already following me on TikTok, come over there and we'll have a bit of fun over there, because I sometimes do lives.